Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another book and DVD update. This time around, I figured we'd go with more of a horror-related one. I do like me a good scary movie and a good scary story every once in a while. So let's find out what I got this time on the Media Files. Welcome back. So I was kind of browsing around in my local thrift stores that I like to look around at, and kind of came across a few things that I have been keeping an eye on for a while, and luckily they were still there. So first off, let's start off with some DVDs that I got. Now this is actually a collection of 5 films, which go all the way back to the early days of film. With this particular set, I know of the actor because he became really famous for a famous monster movie, but he's done lots of other films besides just Frankenstein. I'm, of course, talking about the one and only Boris Karloff. We have the Boris Karloff collection. This packaging is really, really cool, and it has literally a photo of Karloff there and the giant silhouette shadow that is, all the other stuff that he's been in. But the packaging itself is really, really cool. So you just kind of do that, and here's what it looks like on the inside. And also what's cool about it is that it actually features pictures. Yes, we have disc art. So with this set, it comes with a few of his movies that have been released by Universal. Actually, all of them have been released by Universal, actually, but these are more of like his later, some of his early 30s stuff and late 50s, or early 50s, actually. We have Night Key, The Tower of London, The Climax, The Strange Door, and The Black Castle. Now, I know of The Tower of London, but I have never actually watched any of the others, so I can't wait to check that out. What can I say? Not bad at all for, a couple bucks of entertainment. Up next, we have another famous horror-related character. He's been in movies. Now he's in television, which unfortunately is now done, and I never watched it. But I do love the one of the actors that's in it, and he recently was in the video game Death Stranding. Mads Mikkelsen. With this series, I love the character. I've seen the entire, I believe it's all 4 movies that he's in, 4 or 5 of the characters' movies that he's in. I'm, of course, talking about Hannibal. I got season 2. I don't have season 1 or 3 yet, so I'll have to track those down and watch season 1 first before I go on to season 2. Up next, we have a sequel to a remake of a film. With this particular movie, I know of the original Vincent Price film. I know of the remake, but I have never seen any of them in the series. But I figured, hey, why not just get one of them, and then once I find the other 2, I'll watch it. I'm, of course, talking about Return to House on Haunted Hill. I've never seen this. It looks almost like a zombie type of cover or whatever, but hey, what can I say? I only paid $1 for it, so if I don't like it, hey, I'm only losing out on $1. So finally, on the DVDs, this movie is a remake, and I knew of it, but one thing I did not know is that the director of the film has gone on to do one of the absolute best Batman films ever made. I'm, of course, talking about Matt Reeves's Let Me In. Now this is the remake of the original Swedish film Let the Right One In. If you have never seen the original, I highly recommend watching that first and then watching this one afterward, because there are some obviously slight differences, But I have never actually read the original novel. I would love to actually find a copy of it and read it, and then do like a comparison between both of them. But hey, not bad for $1.50. So hey, yeah, it's, what can I say? It's got pretty decent cast in it. It has Chloe Grace Martinez, and see who else is in it. Oh yeah, Elias Koteas, who most of you may know as Casey Jones. So with that, they had a few books there, and I'm like, sweet. I've been trying to find a couple of these, novelizations for a while. I have all the movies, and I watched the Ungodly Netflix series. Don't know why I wasted my time with that. But we have Resident Evil Genesis. Yeah, now this is the prequel novel to the first movie done by Paul W.S. Anderson. Now, I know a lot of people were kind of, iffy on it and whatnot, but hey, we'll do a more in-depth review of the Resident Evil movies at a later date. But I've been wanting to try to find some of these novels, and I'm glad that they finally had this one. I think I only paid 50 cents for it, so I'm like, I'm not going to complain. Up next, we have the sequel, which is the novelization of the second movie, Resident Evil Apocalypse. Yeah. Now, I remember, of course, seeing this movie in theaters, and couldn't wait to see what would happen with Alice and the other characters. Basically, it is Resident Evil 3 in a nutshell. That's literally what it is. If you play the game, you pretty much know exactly what's going to happen. And sure enough, the second movie basically follows the third game almost to a T, with a few little twists and turns here and there. But overall, not a bad, sequel, but I absolutely love the end credits song that plays at the very end of it, which is by a band called Killswitch Engage, and the name of the song is, I believe it's called the End of Heartache, which is an awesome song, and because of this movie, that got me hooked into the band. Yes, I love that particular band. They're awesome. So speaking of horror-related movies, this one I was surprised that they had, and I've been trying to find it for a while. I should have bought the book when it when the remake / kind of reboot came out a few years ago. They didn't have it, and I didn't want to pay Walmart's, ridiculous $12 price for a, novelization. But they had it there for $1. I'd much rather spend $1. Why not? We have, of course, the novelization of Halloween 2018. Oh, yeah. Written by John Passarella, I believe is how you pronounce the author's name. As I was going through it, I did not notice this until I got home. I opened up to the flap, and sure enough, we actually have ourselves a collector's item. It is actually autographed by the author himself. Apparently, it's autographed to a person named Gary. Apparently, it was on December 7th of 2018 is when he got this autographed by the author. Gary, whoever you are, why would you have gotten rid of this, dude? Why? Oh, well, one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's right. That's right. It's very rare that you actually find a book that's actually autographed by the author. Yeah. So with this, since we're still kind of keeping, if you notice, a lot of the books are movie tie-in related books, found this one based on a musical. And, of course, the musical got made into a film by Tim Burton. I'm, of course, talking about Sweeney Todd. Yeah. I loved this movie when it came out, and I had no idea that it was a musical at first. And, of course, I remember, listening to the score that happened, in the beginning, and I figured it was written by Danny Elfman, because Danny Elfman usually does most of Tim Burton's stuff. No, it was not. It was not. It was done by Stephen Sondheim, who I completely forgot did the music for some of the songs for the movie Dick Tracy, which, sure enough, Danny Elfman did the score to. So, hey, what can you say? What can I say? That's probably one of my best, Halloween-related scores. I play that all the time around Halloween, and I love it. So, finally, with this book, I'm surprised that I actually found it. When I saw the title, it sounded interesting. I was like, oh, okay, but it sounds kind of familiar at the same time. And I'm thinking, is it a zombie-related book? Is it related? Sure enough, I saw the author's name, and I'm like, no way. And sure enough, yes way it was. Being a, horror fan of, zombie films, and specifically the Romero movies, I've seen most of them, but not all of them all the way through. This particular one I have seen a bunch of times. I had no idea that there was a novel. Yeah, Dawn of the Dead novel by George A. Romero with an introduction by Simon Pegg. And, now upon doing a little bit of research, I had no idea that this book has actually been around for quite a while. They've just kind of, as most popular novels do, they just get re-released over time. And, I cannot wait to sit down and read this because, obviously it's kind of hard for, people who write a screenplay to adapt it into a novel. I know I think they're doing a new, I think one of George Romero's last things that they're going to do with him is, I believe he is actually doing, it's actually posthumous, but they are going to be releasing soon, I believe it's this year or next year, a documentary on George Romero's lost film that he really wished he had made way back in the late 90s when the game came out. What can I say? Zombies and Resident Evil. Yeah, there's a George Romero documentary coming out based on his experience shooting the Resident Evil 2 short commercials that he made for the Resident Evil 2 game. And I'm like, I just hope one day that if his script of Resident Evil ever gets made, let it be a Netflix film. Let's get it out there, support, the loss of probably, one of the best horror, directors of absolute all time and what have you. Like I say, the man is a legend. I've never actually met him, but, from what I've read and gathered, he sounded like a pretty cool guy, So with that, that basically ends this small little update. Remember to please like and subscribe. For all those new subscribers out there, thank you for adding me to your subscriber list. Tell your friends, hey, have a sit down and say, hey, watch this guy talk about this and that and whatever. And so with that, yeah, I'll see you in the next update. See you later.